In today's video, we will be taking an unboxing and an overview of the Trigkey S5 mini PC. Now this mini PC is actually a Ryzen processor PC with 8 cores, 16 threads, which for a computer in the size of, you know, a biscuit tin sort of size, it's probably even smaller when I open it. But yeah, to get a Ryzen 7 5700U, 8 cores and 16 threads with 32 gigabytes of DDR4 RAM, clocked at 32 megahertz, and also to get a 500 gigabyte SSD or M.2 drive for this, NVMe drive. I think that's a really good package here, and although I did pay a fair amount, it was £300, which is a fair amount, of course. You are getting a lot for your money, and in this little small package, yeah, I think it's an exciting thing, and I'm really looking forward to see what this can do. So, without further ado, let's jump into that unboxing and let's see what this little mini PC can do. So, this is actually my first mini PC. I've never actually owned a mini PC before. And I think this is a really good starting point, because when you're looking for mini PCs, I always think you do want, although it's small, you do want maximum performance, and you do really want to push the envelope. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to see what this can do, because with 8 cores and 16 threads, yes, it obviously got an iGPU in, but you know, it's still going to be it's going to be beefy, it's going to be fast, it's going to be a proper PC. This ain't going to be one of those mini PCs that has no power in. This is going to be a bit of a powerhouse. And here we go, so the user manual's here. That little bit is there as well, don't worry about that. Let's have a look at the accessories box first of all. So the accessories, we've got a few screws here. This is for if you're like changing out your M.2 drive, or you're putting your SSD in there, because it can fit a 2.5-inch SSD as well. And so it is kind of upgradable. The memory and also the storage can be upgraded. I went with a 32GB version. There is a 16GB version for a little bit cheaper. I think that was about £40 off, or £40 cheaper than this one, but I did want to get the 32GB, mainly because I do video editing, and this is where this PC is going to be for video editing really, with the 8 cores, with the 8 cores and 16 threads. And there is additional mount in there, I think that's for the SSD, like I said. So we get a HDMI cable, which is nice. It's just the standard full-size HDMI to HDMI. Okay, so we get a very tiny mini HDMI to HDMI cable as well. That's if you're mounting this little PC onto the back of your monitor with a VESA mount. So if you are going to put that on the back of your monitor, you're only going to want a very short cable to your monitor, obviously, from your PC. So that's nice that they've done that and they've thought about that. It's a nice little feature from Trigkey. I've not heard of Trigkey before as a brand, and I just thought I'd give them a go, because on Amazon it just seemed some good reviews, and I thought let's just give it a go and see what happens. This is the power brick. It comes with a 13 amp fused. Obviously this is for UK plug. And that's the little brick itself. Hopefully you can see that in the packaging there. But let's have a look at the actual PC now. So it says, thank you for your choice during the system boot process. If you cannot log into your personal account, please turn off Wi-Fi and the LAN. Select the skip option and then log into your personal account in the system. Peel off this film before using. So obviously we're going to peel this off now. Again, like I said, although the box was small as it was already, this is actually tiny. This is like literally size of your hand for a PC. Part of me does think, you know, back to my childhood and when I was building sort of bigger PCs, and well, they weren't massive PCs, but they were a bit bigger cases then back in those days. So I actually think you can get an 8-core 16-thread PC literally in the palm of your hand, and it's actually smaller than a power supply, which is ridiculous. And a full-size power supply is actually smaller. A full-size power supply is actually bigger, and this is actually smaller than that. So yeah, like I say, it's tiny. So let's just unwrap this now. So on the back here, we do see the feet here, and it does have the 4 screws. So if you take those 4 screws out, you'll be able to see the bottom. And basically the bottom, although I won't do it in today's video, I might do a follow-up video with this, but basically you can either fit your 2.5-inch SSD there, or you can obviously change the memory or the M.2 drive, if you want to upgrade, obviously. So it's a good option there. I mean, I did get the 500 gigabyte SSD, which probably is a little bit low by modern day standard, I would say. But obviously, you can just pull that out, stick in a 2.5-inch drive, or even stick in like a 2 terabyte, 1 terabyte NVMe drive, M.2 drive, and away you go. So yeah, it's still upgradable even though it's small. Now obviously the iGPU and obviously the CPU can't be upgraded. You are stuck with the Ryzen 7 5700U, which is still a very good processor, and when I was looking on the online, it seemed to be outperforming a lot of CPUs, and even something like a Ryzen 5 3600 was actually being outperformed. So, you know, I mean, yes, it's not quite onto the standard of the Ryzen 7 5700, the main desktop one, but you've got to think that this takes 15 watts from the wall, yeah, which is again ridiculous. Only 15 watts this will take from the wall, and obviously 60 odd watts will be the 5700, and that's before you put a graphics card in and what have you. So you're probably looking at least 200 watts for that. So for 15 watts, this is just incredible speed per wattage and power efficiency. If you are one of those people who really craves for power efficiency, you need to get yourselves one of these boxes, because the power efficiency is crazy. Obviously there's the AMD branding there, if you can see that on the front here. Now not really much on the back. There is some ventilation as well at the sides here. Let's take a look at the ports at the back. So the first port is a LAN port. I think that's the 1 gigabit Ethernet port. So if you do want to connect that up, you can. Now it does have Wi-Fi and Bluetooth integrated into this unit as well, which again is kind of crazy because it's just so small. But yeah, it's all there. So network connectivity is going to be perfect on here. You then have a USB 3, a USB 3 port, A port, and then a USB 2 A port as well. So only 2 USBs at the front, which is a little bit limiting. Obviously, if you've got keyboard and mouse, you're probably going to plug them in. If you've got maybe a headset as well, you might have to use one of the ports at the front, but it's not too bad. I would have liked to have seen 4 USB ports at the back, but hey ho. You then have a display port and a HDMI port as well. So connecting 2 monitors is fine here, and I think you can actually connect 3 if, when we move to the front here, you plug in a USB-C compatible monitor or USB-C converter to maybe HDMI or something. I think you can get 3 displays, but I'll put all the technical details at the bottom here. So we then have the power button on the very far right hand side at the front. We then have a headphone jack, which that's a bit of an ancient relic nowadays, but it's still there if you need it. Our USB-C port, which is, like I said, data as well as video that you can put through here, so that's nice. I think this is compatible with up to 4K 60Hz on 3 monitors, but again, I'll put it down below. And then 2 USB 3 ports, which are A ports. I think they might be USB 3.1, but I'll put it again down below every single specification that you have. There is also a clear CMOS little sort of like pin button thing, where if you put a little pin down there, you'll be able to reset your CMOS, but I don't think many people are going to use that. It's only if you maybe try to put a adventurous overclock in and then need to revert back, obviously, but most people aren't going to do that with this device. So yeah, I think we've basically seen the product enough, and what we'll do now is we'll go over to the monitor, and we'll switch over to monitor view, although I will be recording it with my camera because we're in 1990 here. No, I'm joking. No, it's just easier to record on the camera really than do the screen capture, to be honest. So yeah, we'll sort of set this up now, get this booted up, see if we can log in, get some applications on it. We're going to do some Cinebench. We're going to do a Cinebench R23 test, and we'll also see what CS2 can do. I was going to say CS:GO there, but it isn't CS:GO anymore. It's Counter-Strike 2 now. So yeah, let's plug this in, get over the monitor, and see what this little bad boy can do. Yeah, so here we are at the desktop, Windows 11. It was quite a straightforward sort of welcome sort of setup. Let's do a Dawid Does Tech Stuff rip off and see about the bloatware. Pretty much just a Windows 11 base install, nothing really. No real bloatware there that this out of the box has. This Trigkey S5 Ryzen 7 5700U. So it's about 35 degrees with basically no usage. Let's have a look at the usage here. So yeah, very low CPU usage here. Obviously low memory, low video output as well, video usage. So about 37 here, just sitting idle in Windows here, so that's not bad. Let's put it under a stress basically, and we'll get Cinebench on. Okay, so let's start the multi-core and just see what it does, and we'll also monitor the temperatures as we go. So here we go, start. Just going to crank up the usage now. There we go, 100%. And we're going to crank up the temperature here. So on the package, the CPU package, we're about 60 degrees now, rising a little bit, up to 61, 62. As you can see, with 8 cores and 16 threads, this is going to eat through this test. So let's just minimize that so we can see what's happening with the test. I mean, it's absolutely going at it, so it's really good here. It's actually very quiet as well. I'm just sitting by the side here. You can't even really hear it. No, actually, no. Listen to it now. There is a bit of a fan there. No, it isn't fanless design, but it is very quiet. So let's just see as it wraps up here. So we are at 72 now, so it is getting toasty. And it also, our output here has gone up to 35 watts as well. So I said 15, but obviously that's kind of in idle mode. Your maximum you're going to look for is about 35 watts. But again, 35 watts is still ridiculously low, really. So let's see what it's done. So that's actually a very good score. And that's 9,623 we've scored there. So looking at the side here, comparable sort of CPUs here. Now I know when I did the Ryzen 5 4500 and I installed that got about 9,000 in Cinebench R23. So to actually get about 9,600, that's really good actually. And so it's actually faster than the Ryzen 5 4500 or the Ryzen 5 3600 even, which is a 6-core 12-thread CPU desktop. So that's really impressive. And just looking at the side here, it beats a Ryzen 7 1700X, although there is a bit of a slower CPU nowadays. But again, that's still first gen Ryzen that it's beating here. So this is pretty impressive. And it's also beating even an i9. Okay, it's a 9th generation i9, but it's still the i9 98. Sorry, what's that? Yeah, 9890H CPU. So that's actually really good. I mean, that's very impressive performance, and you could see how quick it was when we were going through that test as well. And it was really churning it through. So CS2 loaded up. Let's go to the video tab, Advanced Video. So we've got pretty much low settings here. I've put them all down just to make things easier. Now in the top left hand corner we have our FPS counter. It's very, very small, so I do apologise, but I'll read it out for you guys. At the moment it's sitting about 40 FPS or so, but hopefully once we get in game it'll be a bit higher than that. Okay, so we've joined in, and at the moment we are at 75 FPS. That's about 80. So yeah, this is playable 1080p low. Well, we're at 74 or something, yeah. So pretty playable 1080p low at CS2, which for an integrated iGPU, that's not actually that bad. I know CS:GO is a very easy to run game. I'm sorry, CS2. I keep calling it CS:GO. But oh, down again. As you can tell, I've not really played this game too much. But yeah, I do think 1080p low for an iGPU, that's pretty good actually. It's not bad. I mean, obviously a dedicated GPU would absolutely trounce this. Even probably something like a maybe even like a 1066 gigabyte would probably trounce this, to be fair. Overall, that's not actually that bad performance. I might actually just try and up the settings a little bit on the next go and just see see how things go. Let's just quickly jump into those settings again. Video, wants video. Let's just knock a couple of these to medium. Now the system is saying that you could go to high and stuff, so we'll try it on high as well. So at the moment, oh, what's that, about 50, 60 FPS? Still got 60 FPS, even though we've put a couple of settings up to high and medium, so that's not bad. Actually pretty playable on the 5700U. So if you are thinking of gaming, obviously this isn't a gaming. This isn't really a gaming computer. This is more for, I would say, production. I would say sort of production tasks. Obviously you've got the 8 cores. You've got the 8 cores and you've got the 16 threads. So this is really more of production, I would say. So if you are video editing, or you've got maybe photo editing, or you're doing maybe like coding, possibly, like, you know, you want a very good compiler, this could be very good here. Overall, I think this is pretty good performance. I'm not going to have enough time to test out things like Rocket League and stuff, but certainly esports titles, you'll be fine with this PC. Now, obviously, once we go on to stuff like Cyberpunk and other stuff, more demanding titles, certainly Starfield is going to be very bad on this. Then yeah, you're kind of in trouble then. You know, you're going to be like probably like 10 FPS. So not good, but certainly as an esports title, this is perfectly fine. I don't know if I'm actually hit my own team there or not. No, I did hit my. Oh, you can actually hit your own team on this one. I didn't know that. I think in CS:GO you couldn't do that. I could be wrong. So just quickly before we conclude the video, here we can see the CPU. Ryzen 7 5700U, as I said. Memory is 32 gigabytes. Now you can have a 16 gigabyte variant, and probably if you were only gaming, then I probably would just go with the 16 gigabyte variant, and then possibly upgrade at a later date. But I think for 32 gigabytes, only paying an extra £40 was worth it for me personally, because like I said, video editing is really going to crunch through that memory. So really, you need at least. Yeah, you need at least 32 gigabytes if you're going to be doing video editing. The SSD looks to be running quite cool and fairly quick. I think the write speeds were okay when I was testing it. Obviously you've got Wi-Fi as well as the Ethernet. I was using the Ethernet for my test, but you can certainly use either, as well as there's also Bluetooth compatibility as well. So if you've got a Bluetooth headset, you're fine there. So let's talk about the good and bad things that I liked with this little Trigkey S5 with the 5700U. So certainly the positives were its size, obviously. That's the big positive. And obviously the power as well. The power was really good actually. I was quite surprised how good it was. Now, the Ryzen 7 1700X is an older processor, but it did beat that. And that's not bad. It's, you know, it's small, it's compact. It takes up like 35 watts maximum, even when you're 100% utilising the PC, and it's like 15 watts on idle, so it's really good actually, this little PC. And yeah, overall I do think it's a really good, snappy little device, and certainly perfect for maybe someone who doesn't really want to get a laptop, but at the same time kind of wants like a hybrid between a PC, a full-size PC, and a laptop. So you could just chuck that in your bag, go away, you know, maybe set up a little desk setup, maybe even get like a portable monitor. Because obviously if you want this sort of specification for a laptop, you are looking at probably, I don't know, about 600, 700, so it's probably like double the price of the actual desktop version. I think you may as well just get this. It's small enough as it is anyway, and then just put a portable monitor, your keyboard and mouse. You could even have Bluetooth keyboard and mouse as well, or wireless keyboard and mouse, and then you're away basically with a nice little workstation, and it's portable. Take it anywhere you want. Really good positives. It's small, portable, it's powerful. The integrated graphics aren't the best, but it's okay. So yeah, let's go on to the negatives now. As I said, the integrated graphics are a limitation, and of course, you know, you'd like to see a little bit more. Although Counter-Strike 2 was playable at 60 FPS and just about over if you pulled down some of those settings. The only other negative I was going to say was the USB ports as well. Now there's only 4 USB-A ports with 1 USB-C port, which for most people probably is going to be enough. You know, you've got your keyboard, you've got your mouse, and you've probably got your headset, so you're probably okay. And then probably like a USB dongle for the 4th one for when you're putting, you know, your film in, or you know, your USB pens in, or you know, SD cards. There is a bit of a limitation there, unfortunately, but overall I think you can kind of, you know, offset that limitation. Potentially might be able to get a USB hub, but I don't know how that would work with the power out on this, so I probably wouldn't go with a USB hub to actually extend the USBs. I probably would leave that, but I think 4 is going to be enough for most people, so it's fine. Also, the fact that it came with a VESA mount, I think it's also a nice thing, just to put on your back of your monitor and hide the desktop out the way, so you could have a very compact little workstation there as well. That's another thing. It's just so good because it's compact and so small, and it can just go anywhere. So yeah, this little thing, like it, mate. I like it. And if you like the video, please do drop a like and obviously comment, so let me know what you actually think of this little device, and if you like this video, and if you've got any recommendations for me and things going forward. So yeah, I hope you like the video, guys. Please subscribe so you can see future videos, and I will see you, boom boom boom, wait for it, in the next one. Bye guys. Yeah.